I'll be talking a bit about my modest experience at Silicon Valley. It's not like I'm, the first one to go there or the only one to go there. There's plenty of people with more experience. So this will be just like my modest tips and tricks for the things that probably you might know them. Some of you maybe know all of them, but so yeah. So it's not like this secrets that nobody knows, but things I've noticed while being there. So yeah, my name is Mike. I run Brand24. We are a startup that does social media monitoring. So whenever whoever talks about your brand, product, or whatever you like online, we let you know about it. And we've been mostly self-funded. We've been profitable from the second or third month from our commercial release. We have currently over 350 customers, and we are getting close to $1 million in revenue per year. So it's pretty good for a Polish startup. We've been selling our product in Poland and Indonesia up to this point. Now we are taking our startup to the US. So it's not much I always laughed at. I always joke that there are there are guys who are selling carpets somewhere and making more money after 3 months than we are making over a year. But the point is the internet products in general are more scalable. So we try to think for a bigger picture. And this is something that probably PDF did not. Hopefully it's the only slide like this in my presentation, because otherwise it's going to be way more boring. No, it's not the video. It's it's just picture. So I'll describe it to you guys. So it was just like it was fucking impressive. Growth in revenue quarterly, just like that in our. I'm not joking, it was like up to the $160,000 quarterly in the fourth quarter of 2013 for us, and there were really impressive logotypes of our customers, Intel, Panasonic, IKEA. Really, you have to believe me. You can look it up on our website. It's all true. So yeah, that went well. Thanks, Boris. Working with PDF is really cool. I wonder why people hate PowerPoint. But this is pretty cool. Cool exercise to understand what your customers are, who are your customers. What is that you actually do? How you help them with their businesses? What's the value proposition? Who are your competitors? So this is quite it's pretty good exercise. It doesn't look like much, but it takes hours to build proper business canvas for your startup. The second thing I was asked, people ask me to do, or ask me if I have one, was the wow statement. There's like proper pitch during the demo day or pitching event. There's elevator pitch, which is obviously shorter, and there's the wow statement, which is just like one-liner that you have to make someone interested in what you're doing. And this is the hardest part about the hardest exercise you can do, and these are the iterations for our own startup. I started with Brand24, social media monitoring, an analytics platform. We provide affordable, blah blah blah, business intelligence, blah blah blah, products, competitors, etc. So, what does it even mean, And this is one of the problems with so many startups. They try to use buzzwords. And they try, to look more sophisticated by using terms like big data and business intelligence. And, it all sounds very cool, but it doesn't necessarily describe who what you're actually doing. So so then we get it a little better because we try to make people interested and we try to underline that we have hundreds of customers of all sizes, but it's still pretty long. And after so many iterations, we came up with this, and it's pretty dumb, way, because we will let you know when people talk about your brand online. We might eventually get it good, but well, there are probably ways to make it even simpler, I would say. But this is pretty cool exercise for you guys. So the next thing I've noticed over there, the networking, and this is probably, you probably heard it from every other person that went to California or to Silicon Valley. This is a very unique place in terms of openness. There's a culture of openness. It's so easy to approach anyone. I was able to approach via Twitter the most popular tech blogger out there, ask him if I can come to see the show live, to participate in live audience during the show, and then eventually we talked a bit, and he just pulled me into the live show. So there are a few gatekeepers. You can almost approach anyone, and the open culture over there is somewhat addictive. It's so easy to get attention from well, maybe not to get attention, but it's so easy to get response from reporters, from other startup owners. People want to help because especially if they're successful, because if they are successful, they appreciate their position, and they know that there was a time when someone helped them, and they try to give it back. So it's pretty hard to describe, but you have to just go there. And this is one of the things I vowed to promote while being here. I feel like in Poland we are standing next to the wall, and we all try to jump higher to get across it. Whereas people over there just they help each other, and they I help you go on the wall, then you can pull me up, and it's as simple as that. And we mostly hold to our own. We hold our ideas to our own. We tend not to share our ideas because we think that the ideas are valuable, and you will probably steal my idea. So unless we sign NDA or something, I won't tell you nothing. Yeah. So so there's a culture of sharing. There's a culture of openness, and it helps them. While I was traveling back, I saw Wired magazine during the flight, and there was 100 hottest startups in Europe. The cover said 100 hottest startups in Europe. So I was like, wow, let's see who's there from Poland. And guess who was there? No one. Yeah, exactly. And this is for a reason, And if we all decide to change it, if we all help each other, selflessly, we can leverage our contacts, our networking, and grow our business both locally and globally better than ever. So this is just like this is like the main theme for my presentation. So the more practical knowledge is that the things that are considered rude in Europe are not that rude in US. So you can literally approach anyone, and if there are two people talking and laughing, and during the conference, it's okay to just come to them and stand next to them, and when you have a chance, just introduce yourself and enter the conversation. Which is, I wouldn't do that in Poland, and I wouldn't do that in US, especially in US. Yeah, but it's okay to do that. So being business focused. Let me just show you video. I hope it's going to work.
This is a classic conundrum, the slash stop question. You have a great application, and then something magical happens, and then you have profit. So we've been studying this conundrum for some time at 37 Signals. We've been talking to a lot of people, been doing our research, we've been doing experiments, testing things out, what would work and what wouldn't. And we found out that having a prize is really cool for getting profits. I mean, you have customers, they pay you money for the product or service, and you get profit. And I mean, it's such a weird notion. It's almost too simple to work. But I've heard that over time, hundreds of years actually, that has been how most businesses have made their money.
So yeah, I encourage you to see a whole presentation of David Heinemeier Hansen from Startup School from 2008. It's been 5 years, but it's as fresh as ever, you know. Because while being there, I've seen so many startups that focus on the technology and and not on getting customers. And startups rarely fail because lack of technology. They mostly fail because they have no profits, no customers, and it goes really deep because it starts with very early stage because. People over there and young entrepreneurs over there are are taught that it's all about getting MVP and then seed round or round A or whatever, and then going fucking IPO and making billions of dollars. And there's no emphasis for just making a stable business, for growing your customers, and rather than masturbating on your technology and all. So this was really really hard to see, and you saw it everywhere. So I was on a pitching event one day over there, and there was a guy who had 7 slides, and 5 of them were exit strategy. Why would you think of exit strategy at such an early stage? When I was asked once what's my exit strategy, and I said honestly that I'm not thinking about it at the moment because I'm there to grow a stable business and possibly live out of dividend if it's possible. If my company is making hundreds of millions of dollars, I can make pretty good living from dividend or just from profits of the company, since I'm shareholder. And people are just, thinking about that the only way for them is to get a big box is to sell out, and it's wrong. There was another exercise I was asked to do, and I was asked to think, what's the success for my company? When I would call myself successful, and I answered myself that if we're making like millions of dollars, like 5 or 10 millions of dollars, it's pretty successful, yeah. And it's not in their in their terms, you can hardly find a startup in Silicon Valley that goes for less than $100 million in annual revenue, and the first response was, wow, those guys are aliens or something. They don't know shit. They will never see a dollar, not to mention 100 millions of them, But it's not like this. There are modest people who still go for $100 million annual revenue, and this is because they know that this is a huge market. There are huge opportunities, and it's doable. And I tried to remember myself 2 or 3 years ago, and if there was someone telling me that I will have $1 million business. With hundreds of customers, and I will work with brands like Intel or IKEA or whatever on daily basis, and I will be traveling to Silicon Valley to start my company, our branch over there. I would ask him probably for his dealer's number and get it for myself because the guy would be too euphoric about it. Yet here we are, So. You have to aim big. There's really small probability of you achieving $100 million million in annual revenue if you don't, aim for it. Yeah, and the other thing is fuck disbelievers. There will be plenty of people. Well, maybe not in Silicon Valley because the culture over there is, when people are not really believing in your product, they will just say, that's interesting, just they'll be just kind, but especially here, there will be plenty of people who, when you say about your product, they will be like, oh, but this is something like product X, or the company X, they'll be bringing up your competitors, and they'll be saying like, oh no, you have no chance because there are other competitors out there, fuck those people. They know nothing. We Brand24 wasn't the first monitoring tool in Poland. It was in the second, third, or even 10th. Yet here we are, a leader, so it's definitely doable. Have you heard about the story of the guy from FedEx? He actually wrote all his business plan down during his studies over Yale University, and he got like C. And all his tutors said that there's no fucking chance it's gonna work. There's no way you're gonna pull this off. Because it's not doable. Yet here we are, and the guy owns a multi-bajillion-dollar business. So it's yeah. So fuck disbelievers. This is my advice. And just like a practical thing, I see it everywhere. I think there's a lot of space for just improvement of services that already exist. Don't try to create just the next big thing, something like you've never seen before. I see it so many times. People who are just like excited, who are enthusiastic about product, about their idea, and then they find out that somewhere in fucking Brazil someone did that already, and they're like, such a good idea for nothing because it's already done over there or something. It's bad. There's a plenty of space, and there's a plenty of space to be 10th or 20th or 30th business doing pretty much the same thing, but more usable, with better customer experience. There are so many ways you can differentiate yourself, and so many ways you can provide a better service. Sales. This will be pretty practical, I guess. I hope. I don't know if you heard about data.com. This is it was bought by Salesforce. So if you go to data.com, you are redirected to Salesforce. And I don't know how many of you run business-to-business companies. Well, don't raise your hands or whatever. But if any of you does, you know at the best that leads are important, and in Poland, we generate leads. We try to look for the companies that could potentially use our product. Then we try to look for a person who's a, brand manager or marketing manager, and then we look for the contact information for the person, and then we contact them. And with data.com, all three levels of this process are done automatically, you could say. So you just type in, brand manager in San Francisco from the PR agency with 10 to 20 employees, revenue this and this, and boom, you have a list of people with emails ready to, to approach. And we actually use that for approaching customers, and 3 out of 10 people just answer email and say, sure, I would love to test your product. So it really works. It's a cool way to stay remote, to generate leads from Poland, and those people don't need meetings. And if they do, just say fuck you and go for the next customers, because there's so many of them. You don't have to fly all the way to San Francisco to meet them. You can do a hangout. Well, the other side of it, you will look like me, because I'm working 2 shifts at the moment. So from 9 to 6 I work Poland, and from 6, which is 9 in California, I start working I start communication with people over there. So it's killing me, but it's doable, you know, for some time. And don't pitch the product, pitch scenario. So don't say that, like, you know, like we do this and this and this, and we just say how you can help them. You know, do the research, find out what their customers are or what they are doing, and, you know, just pitch the scenario. You know, like imagine you could know what people say about your company online, and start with that, you know. And you can contact via, yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious. You can contact via email, Twitter, or LinkedIn. But the things that make me that surprised me was that Facebook is kind of creepy over there. You know, well, contacting people via business-wise via Facebook is kind of creepy. And I did that so many times in Poland, and it worked fabulously. You know, in Poland, I approached so many customers and I closed so many deals strictly via Facebook. And I wanted to do the same over there, and believe me, don't do that, because you will look like a creep that, you know, mixes pictures of their kids with business. Use LinkedIn or email or Twitter. Twitter works really cool for approaching people. You know, really good. Yeah, and do things remotely as long as possible. We have, you know, we overvalue. Being there, you know, being in the Silicon Valley. It's a very nice place to visit for 3 weeks. I think the optimum is to go there for a few weeks every half of a year or every year. But we have a huge potential of doing things remotely from here, because costs over here are ridiculous in a good way, comparing to the Silicon Valley. You know, it's so costly to live there. It's so hard to hire people over there, and you know, we have huge opportunity to do things, because we do things as good as they do. You know, we have as good graphic designers. We have pretty good you know, programmers or world-class programmers as Boris, for example. But well, maybe not actually Boris, but he has a world-class programmer. I hear in his company. But so we have all the things that we need to have to create successful startup here. You know, and you can do so many things remotely. And what I like to call smoke and mirrors is there are a few tricks you can make yourself look like you're from there, you know, and people don't even ask if you're in Europe or whatever. So you just change your time zone settings in Gmail, so your mails wouldn't be posted in the weird hour. So you know, when there's a 9 o'clock over there, they are getting your emails with 6 p.m. You know, in the message. You can buy virtual office for $12 with this service or any of their competitors. We have such a virtual office, and you can buy a virtual phone number with Grasshopper, and they have a mobile app, so you can call from your iPhone or Android or whatever. You can receive calls, and it's all for free. And you have a number that you know, you can even pick the number that's related to the area of your office. So, and we have such a number. We have picked the number. Specifically for Manhattan, where our office really is, yeah. So another cool thing is, because we were really worried about how the hell people from US are going to leave their credit card numbers with Polish, you know, service. I wouldn't do that if I was a guy from US, but apparently they have something like card protection warranties and insurance. So if someone steals their money from the credit card, the bank gives it back. So this was actually pretty cool insight from the director of Microsoft Ventures I've met over during the Web Summit in Dublin, and he said that why would you because I was like bragging that we are that close to establishing a company, a corporation at Delaware, and it's we're gonna have our own checkbooks, and it's going to be so nice, it's going to look so professional and looking like a US company. But he would say, why would you do that when we don't give a fuck about where your company is? You can do the virtual office if you like, you can do a virtual phone number, but with warranties and insurance, we don't give a fuck if you're in Siberia or New York. So this is cool for all software as a service guys over there. So last thing is pitching and investors, and I have another movie over here.
So like a couple of things really quick. Like everybody who's showing us your team slides, we don't give a fuck. Your team slide is not interesting unless you worked at PayPal or Facebook or you went to some like really amazing university. So if you didn't go to any of those places or work at those places, don't show us the team slide. It's a waste. The other thing is end early. Like everybody, you're all getting pulled off stage by him. Like if you go up to a girl or go up to a guy and they like talk to you like way long, it's not fucking interesting. What's interesting is when they talk to you for 30 seconds and you're hanging on every word and then they leave. So leave early, finish early. Don't fucking pitch me everything. 2 cool slides. Like imagine like, hi, we're gonna like exchange all your excess cash. It's free, it's awesome. You wanna know how we do it? Fuck you, I'll tell you later, bye.
Yeah, you can try that with Dave McClure if you ever get into 500 startups. Yeah, so just keep in mind that you're competing with people that have no shame. So you'll meet people that will claim that their products is the a freaking cure for cancer, even if it's not. So those are the people that will approach anyone. They will took every opportunity to promote their product, to grow their product. If there's some kind of presentation and they can, example. I told you about this tech blogger. I went for the live audience to participate in his recording of his show. There was a plenty of space in audience, and there were plenty of people actually during the audience, and there were 2 free seats in the front row. And most of people would be like, nah, maybe we should sit back. We are kind of new. We're not from around here, but we went straight for the front seat, and we talked a bit before the show, and this was because and this is why we were pulled into the program. And this is what I mean about having no shame. Just don't feel bad about going for what's important for your product or for your company. Yeah, this is the thing that Dave McClure said. Don't say that you have world-class team unless you really do, unless you worked at Facebook or PayPal or whatever. And this is pretty cool insight. When you talk with potential investors or whatever, you can, especially if they say no, you can ask them for favors, because they feel bad about saying no, and they are mostly nice people, and they would like to help you, just for the sake of this culture of openness, of sharing. And this really works, They can connect you to possibly not the next investor, but they can connect you with some potential partner or early adopter or someone that can make your product better. And yeah, this is it. But I told you about this culture of openness. This is something I want to promote, and so I have to be the best example for it. And so anytime any of you have some sort of question, doubt, whatever, do you want me to test your product? I'm always there. You can shoot me a message through Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever. I'm really easy to find. Yeah, I always answer. It might take me a few hours, maybe potentially a few days if I'm not around, but I'll definitely answer. So if you need anything, I'm there.